Good morning, welcome to Sports Radio 1310 The Ticket. George DiGianni on the Train Station Fitness Show. It's 7:01 in the morning, and we're bringing a show to you, and I say we, me and Dr. Jeremy Webster, we're bringing a show to you today that has been addressed in the past, but maybe not in such detail, I'd say. Number one, is even before you were here. And number two, oftentimes what we find is some of the information we've discussed will have variables to it. There'll be changes made, and it's good to have a follow-up show. We're discussing antioxidants and free radicals. What is a free radical? You may just know it as being damaging, therefore we need to eat fruits and vegetables and other things that give us antioxidants to prevent or slow the free radical damage both internally and externally that we experience as we age and so forth. But can antioxidants be harmful? This is the stuff that if you're not aware, you can actually hurt yourself. Dr. Webster and I were talking off air about someone who has too much potassium. And not only is it not good for you, but it can kill you.
That's right.
So, and we can discuss that on another show, but I don't want people to think, and often they do, more is better. Why is this show important for us to bring to people's attention today?
Because there's so much confusion.
What's the confusion?
Do people really know what an antioxidant does and what it doesn't do? Do people know the combinations of antioxidants that we need to be taking?
And can we just take a pill? Can we just take antioxidant pills? Isn't that enough?
Well, maybe. We're going to talk about that.
You know, or certain foods. Is that enough?
Maybe.
And do you know which foods they are? I'm testing you here, Webster.
Yes, I do. I have a list right in front of me.
Okay. So coming up, Dr. Jeremy Webster and I, we're going to talk about free radical damage in the body. How does this happen? Is it voluntary? Is it just a natural part of life? And is there a way to slow it down? And are you consuming the right products and or food that contribute to your health and add to your health versus, or this is the same thing by the way, versus speeding up the damage? We'll find out more with Dr. Jeremy Webster. 703 Sports Radio 1310 The Ticket. 711 Sports Radio 1310 The Ticket. George DiGianni on the Train Station Fitness Show. We're discussing antioxidants and free radicals and what all of that means to your health. And you know, one of the things I want to make sure we address, Dr. Jeremy Webster's on the show today, is how fast, and I've not put this in my notes, so I want to ask now, make sure we address it. How fast does your body benefit from taking the proper amount of antioxidants, and how fast can we recognize the change? Okay? And you don't even have to answer it now. If you want, you can. Otherwise, write it down.
That's an amazing question, because when you look at antioxidants and how fast they work in the body, it's literally like nanosecond. It's extraordinarily fast. That we can basically start the conversation right there. What is an antioxidant? Why are they needed in the body? And that's because when your body metabolizes anything, and metabolism doesn't necessarily mean you're just converting fat into energy so that you can burn it. That's not what metabolism means. Metabolism means you're taking one molecule and converting it into another. When that happens, you create free radicals as byproducts. And these are basically just charged particles that shoot out as a byproduct of metabolism. And if they're not neutralized, they're charged particles. Free radicals are charged particles. If they're not neutralized and they hit your tissues in your body, they will destroy your body really quickly. So we have an antioxidant network that almost instantaneously can bind to those free radicals, neutralize them, and ultimately turn them into water where they're completely not harmful to us.
That's a great way of...
quickly.
That's a very good way of, and I know you addressed most of it, but it's a very good way of presenting it for the lay and for me to understand. I'm that person as well, to understand what they do and how they work. But that also doesn't tell us, and don't answer this now, we're going to get into how it shows up externally from a free radical standpoint, okay? This is kind of out of order because I put my notes in a certain order, but most people know free radicals are harmful to our health and that we need antioxidants and so forth, but they don't really realize what a free radical does to our DNA and cell reproduction. What is a free radical again?
It's a charged particle.
Charged particle, but what does that mean to the layman?
It's a charged particle. It has a like a certain charge to it, so that when it binds to another tissue that doesn't have that same charge, it can basically, it more or less just tears that particle up.
Okay, are we doing it to ourselves?
Are we doing what to ourselves?
As far as free radicals, is this a voluntary and or a involuntary action?
Involuntary, in a way. I think I know where you're going with this. But involuntary, it's just a matter of when you eat, say, avocados. Avocados we would think of as a healthy type of fat. Well, in order to turn that healthy fat into energy, you have to create free radicals. It's just the nature of the human body. Mm-hmm. So if you don't neutralize those free radicals, those free radicals can bind to your DNA and do damage to that DNA. And then you start reproducing new cells based on altered DNA, and those cells won't be healthy. And it's impossible to change that back. That's the problem with this. It's impossible to change your DNA back to its normal form typically once it's been altered, because it replicates itself. That's in general. Yeah, I know there's a lot of wild theories out there. Yeah. There's probably some pretty good science on maybe possibly changing your DNA back slightly, but in the real world it doesn't really work. Once you damage it, you replicate that damaged DNA, and then you start creating damaged cells or mutated cells, so to speak.
So just to complement and add credibility to what you're saying, I was watching a TV show, actually a show on YouTube a few days ago that discussed this very thing about DNA being changed over a period of time, and how we are now, even through water, we are now affected in a certain way that we really can't change it back. We've, depending on region you live in and lifestyle and so forth. And so we have the ability to make that stance now, if you will, not to make any more damage. Let's discuss some of the visible signs. Sometimes people really begin to listen to information like this when they see the visible signs of damage, free radical damage particularly, wrinkles, elasticity lost in the skin. What else? What are the visible signs? Let's talk about the external signs of free radical damage, or maybe it's too much damage too soon.
Yeah, maybe it's your hair going gray prematurely. Maybe it's you losing your hair prematurely. Those things could be because of free radicals damaging certain cells in your skin.
Poor recovery, chronic fatigue, and all that stuff.
Arthritis is big time because if free radicals start attacking your joints, you're going to get joint pain. You're going to get arthritis. You can get degeneration of your joints. You could get degeneration of your cardiovascular system, which puts you at greater risk for developing cardiovascular disease, heart attack, and stroke, and so forth.
But this sounds familiar to the same exact symptoms of inflammation.
Inflammation and free radicals go hand in hand.
Right.
There are free radicals produced through the inflammatory process.
So if we decrease inflammation, it doesn't mean we're not going to have free radicals anymore, because we have to, because of the process of when we ingest a food and how it has to turn on a free radical and so forth, like you mentioned earlier, correct?
Right, but you might have less production of free radicals.
Okay.
If you have stress, for instance, stress in your body, you're going to create more free radicals. If you have excess inflammation in your body, you're going to create more free radicals. If you have excess toxicity, you're going to love this one. Excess toxicity causes your body to create more free radicals.
So does it, go ahead.
So it puts you in a state where you need more antioxidants if you have inflammation or toxicity or excessive stress. You need more antioxidants to neutralize your free radicals than if you didn't have those additional problems in your life.
So for the skinny person, or the person who works out all the time and eats really well and thinks that they're not toxic or not causing free radical damage and that they're healthy, what would you say to them?
They might be causing more free radical damage. If your metabolism is higher, you're metabolizing food, you're metabolizing chemicals and turning them into other chemicals.
Right.
In this example, you're turning fat into energy more efficiently, which means you're doing it faster,
right,
which means you're creating more free radicals than someone who doesn't do that necessarily.
So doesn't that mean someone might throw their hands up in the air and say, well, screw it, I'm done exercising?
No, not at all. It just means you need to exercise so that you maintain good fitness and health. But you also need to understand that by doing so, we need antioxidants to maintain our health. Otherwise, the free radicals can tear us apart.
All right, so we're talking about free radicals and antioxidants today. Does that mean that there's one particular fruit or vegetable or even a supplement that someone can take to counteract all of this crap we're talking about now with free radicals?
Yeah, we just take mangosteen and everything's good.
Yeah, right. Whatever.
Right, we just
now,
take,
why did you have to promote one company?
It's not a company. That's a fruit. That's a particular
mangosteen. What is that? What is that other stuff
there's like all the Vimas and all those
yeah.
all those juices. Some exotic fruit in Africa. That's got
2 ounces and it cures cancer and all that.
Yeah, that has
crap.
ORAC through the roof, which is oxidative reducing capacity, basic antioxidant. Right.
Is there any science that's valid when it comes to that stuff?
Yeah, yes, that's the key here. It's valid that it does have antioxidant capacity.
Or until they ruin it with the sugar.
Well, maybe so, but that's not the only important thing. It's not just how powerful an antioxidant a certain product is. It's how it works with all the other antioxidants. And I don't know if we have time to really get into it. I guess we do.
I want to.
Okay. Your body doesn't just work based on, okay, there's a free radical and there's an antioxidant, and once they bind, they're neutralized. That's the simple model. That's the way you explain it first, which is what I kind of did. I said, antioxidants neutralize free radicals. Now, it doesn't really work that way. It does sort of, but it's much more complex than that. When a free radical binds to an antioxidant, the initial antioxidant, wherever that might be, if it's inside water solutions, maybe inside the cell or outside of the cell in water, it might be vitamin C, which is the first thing that it might come in contact with. Vitamin C doesn't turn that free radical into a completely neutralized particle. What it does is it's kind of like playing leapfrog. No, a better example. You know those little Russian dolls that are like real tiny, and then the next one's bigger around it, and bigger and bigger and bigger until you get this big egg-like Russian doll. That's kind of like what happens when antioxidants encounter free radicals. It's a big, massive charged particle that's really dangerous. Well, vitamin C basically removes one layer, and now you have a smaller free radical. And then the vitamin C is now that free radical. It's a charged free radical itself. It has to go find another antioxidant, coenzyme Q10 possibly, or lipoic acid. That then removes another layer, and now it's a smaller, slightly less damaging free radical again. So that CoQ10 has to find something else. And it keeps going up the chain until finally it gets to the last one, which is glutathione, and when it removes that final layer, all that's left is pure water. So it's this step that has to go many, many, many steps between multiple different antioxidants to completely neutralize a free radical.
So going back to my question in the beginning, it's basically impossible to get all of the benefits that we think we're going to get immediately, although there's changes that happen immediately, to see a difference in our skin, body fat, energy production, and so on, is going to be something that we have to do consistently positive for us over a period of time.
Yes. Because we're always, every single day, every single minute, every single fraction of a second, you're producing free radicals throughout your body. So what we need to do is just make sure that we understand what antioxidants do, understand what type of foods and what type of combinations that we need, and do that on a consistent basis so you always have a good store of antioxidants in your body.
Discuss antioxidants and aging. We discussed some of the external factors between free radicals and antioxidant imbalance, I'll call it. But how is it affecting us on the inside? For those who may look good on the outside and say, "I'll have great genes," what's going on the inside? It's almost like when we see somebody, a model or somebody who's naturally skinny and they don't work out and they think they're fit, we call them skinny fat because the inside's fat. What's happening inside our body?
Again, free radicals will damage anything in your body. You can be very lucky, so to speak, and your outside might look good, but that doesn't necessarily mean your inside look good. I've seen skinny people that come in and we run tests to check for their plaque, for example, and they've got massive amounts of plaque in their arteries. And you think that's not healthy at all. If you've got a bunch of plaque in your system, there was excess inflammation, therefore there was excess free radical damage, and they probably didn't have enough antioxidants to quench those free radicals, and they started doing damage to their arteries, to the veins of the arteries and veins.
Well, let's just put them on a statin, Webster.
Well, statins aren't necessarily antioxidants.
I know, but they got all this plaque buildup. You say this isn't that the protocol when you go see a doctor? Is all this plaque build? Put them on a statin.
Yeah, well, that might be the protocol, but good luck with that. The science.
Did you see the latest article that came out? It was CNN. Oh my gosh.
We can go through this again.
No, I know, but the latest, every time that somebody comes up with this, there's always this battle back and forth. And it's the latest article that said that that statins do not protect you from heart disease, from a heart attack.
Okay, I'm glad it said that. It said the truth then.
Yeah.
So yeah, there you go. It doesn't protect you from a heart attack.
It's just all I'm saying is I'm adding more to the other articles that have come out that have.
Well, Vytorin, that one actually showed that it lowered your cholesterol but increased your plaque.
Oh.
Do you want lower plaque or do you want lower cholesterol? I'll take high cholesterol with low plaque, please.
Any day.
Please.
Any
the
day.
plaque is what's going to kill you ultimately.
Right.
The cholesterol is not, unless it's contributing to the plaque, and it seems like you might be doing the opposite.
I want to say that's counterintuitive, but it's actually only counterintuitive
you know
to people who don't understand.
You know why? Because cholesterol is anti-inflammatory and it's an antioxidant. Did you know that?
Yeah, I knew. I actually did know that. So it's beneficial for us. It actually makes hormones and all the stuff we've discussed in the past.
Sure.
Okay, so antioxidants and danger. Can taking an antioxidant supplement and or food be dangerous for us? And if so, how? We'll talk more with Dr. Jeremy Webster, 724 Sports Radio, 1310 The Ticket.
10 The Ticket.
732 Sports Radio 1310 The Ticket. George DiGianni on the Train Station Fitness Show. Go see Tom Gribble tonight. He's going to be at the Back 9 Sports Bar and Grill from 9 till 11 p.m. Located at Beltline Road in Runyon, just one block west of Midway Road in Addison. It's your chance to trick or meet and register to win a brand new smoker courtesy of Dos Equis. Dr. Jeremy Webster is in the studio. We're talking about free radicals, antioxidants, and how to basically get your health back. What can you do? If people are doing things that contribute to being unhealthy and they don't know it, we can't really beat them up. But once you've gained the knowledge and you're doing nothing about it, and then you keep going back to the question of what's the best exercise for this, what's the best supplement for that, versus recognizing there's no one quick fix trick, then you'll begin to have a better hold on your health and understanding as well.
Right. We talk about it all the time, George. You've got to exercise right, you've got to eat right, and you probably need to supplement right. Those are really the three biggest things that I can personally think of.
Right.
I mean, you can throw stress management in there and sleeping, but those are the big things that we need to work on. It's not a matter of just one. It's not a matter of just exercising more, because like I just said, you exercise more and metabolize more, you make more free radicals. Therefore, you need to have more antioxidant-rich foods and possibly even more nutrient supplements to counter what you've been doing. So it's really a three-legged stool that we need to work with.
I want to go back to aging before I address the other question about antioxidants being harmful. We'll do that a little bit later. Earlier I asked about free radicals aging us faster, so let's look at it a different way, different approach. Can taking the correct antioxidant, whether that be in a supplement and or a food, help to slow the aging process?
Yes, a qualified yes. If you take the right antioxidants, since lack of antioxidants causes free radical damage and therefore aging, taking the right antioxidants can in fact slow that process. But I want people to also understand that that's not the only thing that causes aging. There are several other things that are unrelated to free radicals and unrelated to antioxidants. So if you tend to have excess aging, if you're aging faster, if your skin is wrinkling faster than you think you should, if your joints are hurting, it might be lack of hydration. You know, if you're dehydrated, you're going to age faster.
Yes. It's not just, I want people to know, let me just interject for a moment. It's not just because of your skin looking more wrinkled, okay, let me instantaneously help my skin by drinking more water. We're talking about truly aging faster from the inside out by being dehydrated. And it's not a quick fix.
Right. Toxicity is another thing. Toxicity, yes, it creates free radicals, so there's that point of it. But toxins can cause damage and cause accelerated aging, completely removed from the free radical standpoint. Take mercury, for example. If you
most
have mercury,
brain toxic chemical known to man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And really the most toxic to your immune system and to the rest of, to your detoxification system. So if you have mercury in your system, yes, it does cause a lot more free radicals to be produced, so you need more antioxidants. But that's not the solution if you have mercury. You need to get rid of the mercury. So that's ultimately
well, that
what's
goes back
gonna
to
fix the
doesn't that just
problem.
go back to one of the shows? Actually, I did this by myself, where we talk about addressing the symptom versus the cause.
Right.
Address the cause, and the symptoms will minimize in many cases. And I can't say all because we don't know. I can't blanket them.
And I'm just trying to point out that yes, too little antioxidants can cause aging, so taking antioxidants can help slow the aging process.
Right.
But there's other things that can also cause excess aging. Energy production is huge too. We have to be able to make energy. Think about this, George. Your cells have to repair and replenish and sometimes even reproduce themselves. It takes energy to do that. Every single cell needs energy to rebuild itself and maintain its own structural integrity. So if you don't produce energy properly, you're going to age more rapidly as well. So this is what I say. If you want to get all of this checked out, I have a comprehensive metabolic profile. Go to my website. Right on the top, I have testing now. In-home testing kits that I'm offering now. It's brand new on my website. There's a tab that says testing right at the top. You can get this delivered to your home. You can take the test in your home. It will look at your toxicity. It will look at your free radicals. In other words, your need for antioxidants. It will look at your energy components. It will look at the bacteria imbalance potentially in your gut, among other things. So you can see what might be contributing to your aging, so you can have a specific protocol rather than just guessing and trying to take a million things, and maybe you needed one other thing is all you needed and you didn't need a million things.
I didn't know that you were offering this now. Have I ever taken this test?
It's brand new. I believe you took it a while back. Yeah,
I did.
You took it from Jill, I believe.
Yeah.
But that was 2 years ago, maybe.
Probably or longer.
It was the one. Remember, there's a urine challenge, and then there's the blood spot that goes along with it.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm offering all those. You can get them individualized.
Huh.
Offering that. I'm offering a food allergy panel, an essential fatty acid panel, an amino acid.
CompleteHealthDallas.com.
CompleteHealthDallas.com. Right at the top right, you'll see testing. And you click on that, and you'll have several tests you can choose from. And also the great thing is, it comes with a phone consultation with me. You don't even have to be my patient to get this testing done.
That's good. Do we need all, this might be a dumb question, but do we need all antioxidants that are available in nature and in supplements?
That's a great question. Maybe more appropriately, do we need to consume all of them? And
Okay.
the answer is no. Some of them we need to consume. In other words, they're essential to our system. They have to be consumed. Vitamin C would be a good example of this. Vitamin C is an essential nutrient. A lion can eat meat, and they can make or metabolize vitamin C internally. Human beings cannot do that. So we have to consume vegetables and fruits to get our vitamin C. Vitamin C is an essential nutrient. We have to consume it. It also is one of those key antioxidants that I was talking about. You talk about the key ones that we have to have. We have to have vitamin C, vitamin E, vitamin A, coenzyme Q10, lipoic acid, and glutathione. Those are probably the most important because they do that little hopscotch thing I was talking about to ultimately neutralize the free radicals. Vitamin E is essential. CoQ10 is not necessarily essential because we have the capability to produce CoQ10 in our liver.
But let's say that for a moment. You say not necessarily, excuse me, and people need to recognize the importance of how you worded that, because as you damage yourself and as you age, and if you take those statin drugs, which I can't make fun of, I'm not a medical doctor, but I would really like to. If you take those, you actually rob yourself of CoQ10, therefore you need CoQ10.
Sure. It doesn't mean that we shouldn't consume it. It just means that we do have the capability to make it internally,
right,
to a degree at least. Yes, if you take statins, you diminish your ability to make CoQ10. As you age, you lose the ability to make CoQ10 as efficiently.
Don't we need more CoQ10 starting from the age of 30?
That's about when we see a little bit of decline in our liver production of CoQ10. So it's a good idea to start taking a little, maybe by 30 or 40. Take a little bit. If you have diseases, let's say if you had Parkinson's disease, you probably need to take a lot of it, no matter what your age is, because that can halt some of the damage that's being done. CoQ10 is also an energy-producing molecule. So some of the problem with Parkinson's is that the cells aren't making energy in your brain very well. So the energy component can help, but also the antioxidant component can help also with something like a Parkinson's type neurological issue, a really massive issue. Or if you have congestive heart failure, you can take a large amount of CoQ10 and it can be extremely helpful. So
let's talk about the type where people, we've been discussing antioxidants this entire show. Where do we get them? What are the foods? What are the supplements? How do we find them to get the proper ones?
Sure.
That are essential.
Again, we need a blend.
Yeah.
We need vitamin C. Vitamin C you're going to get in your vegetables and your fruits mostly. You don't have to consume orange juice to get your vitamin C. Although
thank you for mentioning that.
Citrus fruits do have a nice supply of vitamin C. So does spinach. So does broccoli.
Hold on. Let's continue on with that. You said you don't have to have orange juice, but people will think of that as, well, I don't have to, but he didn't say not to. Okay, so it's like those who drink red wine for resveratrol. you have absolutely no clue how much red wine you'd have to drink to get the proper amount of resveratrol to benefit you. Right? Good point.
Yeah.
And by the way, while you've had all this red wine just to get the benefit of resveratrol, you're a fat ass, and you've got imbalance in sugar.
But red wine's so good, George.
I don't care if it's good. You're supposed to align with me here on the show.
I know, man. I'm just throwing
anyway.
in there.
So with the same thing with orange juice. Yeah, we know there are benefits to it, but you're missing everything from having the fruit itself.
Sure.
The fiber.
Eat the whole fruit with the fiber. You're going to get a lot more benefit from that.
Yeah.
You're not going to have the blood sugar spikes and swings. And like I was saying earlier, we need to be consuming a lot more food than just orange juice to get our antioxidants. Yeah, you'll get some vitamin C from that. But eat a big green spinach or a leafy salad. Greens have tons of vitamin C. Broccoli has tons of vitamin C.
You know where I get a lot of vitamin C? When I go out and I go to one of these really cheap places to eat, and the lettuce is completely white. Isn't that great vitamin C?
No.
What do you mean no?
Green leafy lettuce, come on.
What do you mean? It's green to me. It's got green tint.
Not really.
So tell us what you mean by green.
It should be leafy. It should be dark green.
Dark
green, not white, not iceberg lettuce. It shouldn't be in a cube. Those big wedges.
Well, hold on. Iceberg lettuce. It's grown. It's natural. It's got to be good for us.
Tons of pesticides. Almost no nutrition. It's
Yes.
almost like just fibrous water. With
And
pesticides.
how long? And this might be a question neither one of us know. How long has iceberg lettuce been available?
I have no idea.
The reason I'm asking is because if it's something fairly new, I could see that. I could see why it is
Being
what
like
it
a
is.
genetically modified
Yeah.
strain or something. I don't
Because
know.
we most of us, I think, know today that iceberg lettuce really isn't beneficial to us whatsoever. There's hardly any. It's devoid of nutrients. But if it's been around for thousands of years, I just wonder why. Because it is grown from the ground, it is natural, and we often say that things that are grown in nature are really good for us. Certain as far as
Maybe
foods
not.
we're supposed to eat, but really not with
Not
that.
not
one.
always. Poison ivy isn't so
Well,
healthy.
no, but I mean things that we're supposed to consume, and so let's just that's one that kind of threw me off. About why are we eating that? And it's so cheap, and that's one of the reasons it's being served to us. So go ahead and move forward
Green
with the other.
leafies. Yeah, but your other nutrients like vitamin E, for example. Vitamin E is a fat soluble nutrient. It resides in the fatty part of the cell or the membrane of the cell, and if you supplement with this, you don't want to take the wrong type. You don't want to take synthetic vitamin E. It's been shown to cause problems, which we can get into that.
It's been shown to cause cancer. Let's just say it.
It does increase cancer risk. I want to talk about that a little later because I want to tell you where to get your good sources. Get it from oily foods, sardines, olive oil, olives, nuts and seeds, like raw sunflower seeds,
Right.
walnuts, anything that's an oily, fatty, good food. I would assume avocado, although I didn't look that one up. But I know these other foods that I mentioned, these oily foods have lots of vitamin E inherently in there.
But if we're having
And they have the right type of
sunflowers, if we're having sunflower seeds and nuts and avocado, and we have olive oil and virgin coconut oil, and we have butter, all these good fats, are we going to get fat?
No, of course not.
If you have them every day, all of them?
They don't boost your insulin at all.
All these different fats, if we have all these different fats every day, we're not going to get fat.
No.
Isn't that great?
It is great.
It's just so counterintuitive because, and I don't want to say intuitive because it's actually not the right phrase. We might think of it as counterintuitive because of the marketing that's been implemented to make us think that it's fat. That's going to make us fat.
It's like counterculture almost. Like we've been brainwashed into thinking that fat makes you fat, so low fat is good. It's not the case at all. But a lot of our nutrients are specifically from fatty foods.
All right, so coming up next with Dr. Jeremy Webster, we're going to discuss whether antioxidants can be harmful to us. And you say, George, you just did a whole show about antioxidants being beneficial. But if you take the wrong antioxidant, it may be harmful. Which
so
ones?
Confusing.
I know. Which ones are the harmful ones? We'll find out coming up next, 7:45, Sports Radio 1310, The Ticket. 7:52, Sports Radio 1310, The Ticket. George DiGianni on the Train Station Fitness Show. My guest, Dr. Jeremy Webster. His website, CompleteHealthDallas.com. He's got a testing procedure to show you whether you are healthy or not. On the top of his website, go to, what is it called?
It's CompleteHealthDallas.com.
No,
There's a tab that simply says testing.
Testing.
And the profile that we talked about today was called the metabolic profile.
Okay, so I asked you just before the break about whether antioxidants can be harmful, and it's a valid question because both of us have some experience with this. Of course, you have more in-depth knowledge about it. Which ones can be harmful? First of all, can they be harmful? Second of all, which ones and how we're consuming them are harmful for us?
Well, let me throw a wrench in this. When you get sick and have an illness, you have a bacterial or a viral infection, something in your blood that your body recognizes as foreign. Guess what it uses to kill? Guess what your immune system uses to kill that bacteria? Take a guess.
I'm going with antioxidants.
Wrong. Free radicals.
Free radicals, baby.
The opposite.
Uh-huh.
Your immune system fires free radicals at that bacteria to kill it. Can you believe that?
Huh.
Isn't that weird? So
we don't want to have so many antioxidants, although it doesn't work this way. But we don't want to have so many antioxidants that we do not allow free radicals to do their job.
That's exactly right.
There's a need. There's a necessity for free radicals.
There is, and if you do take too many free radical or too many antioxidants, it does work that way. If you take too many, if you megadose on vitamin C and megadose on these fruit drinks that have this extremely high ORAC, you suppress your immune system's ability to do its job. And you could actually increase your risk of developing cancer or something else that your immune system is supposed to generally take care of.
So this makes me, and I'm sure others listening, want to just throw our hands up and just give up.
I know. It's so confusing. The bottom line is, don't do crazy things to excess. Don't isolate certain nutrients and take massive amounts of them. If you don't have good antioxidant status and you take a massive amount of vitamin C, you're probably going to cause more trouble than good.
So the doctors, there's two schools of thought on how doctors share vitamin C with us. Some of them say that we should consume 5,000 milligrams of vitamin C a day, and others say have 10, 20, 30, 40,000 milligrams a day because of its antioxidant benefit. What they're not sharing with us is this important fact that you said now.
Right, and also think about the whole hopscotch thing we were talking about earlier. If vitamin C undoes that first eggshell, and it then becomes a free radical itself, if you just take massive amounts of vitamin C, all you end up with is a massive amount of those free radicals. So it doesn't work so well. I would rather you have 1/10 the amount of vitamin C, but also have some vitamin E, CoQ10, glutathione, lipoic acid, and all of the other bioflavonoids, which are the pigments. You mentioned resveratrol.
Yes.
Quercetin. There's thousands. There's actually thousands of other of these plant-based antioxidants. Not necessarily that we need any one of them particularly, but we need some of them. What they do is they fill in the gaps between these big main network or main big team antioxidants that I'm talking about. They fill in the gaps. Resveratrol fills in the gap. You can go your entire life without consuming one bit of resveratrol ever and be perfectly healthy as long as you consume other plant-based antioxidants. You don't necessarily have to ever consume garlic, but it has a lot of good properties.
So we don't have much time. Talk about the harmful antioxidants, and when we just discussed or taking the wrong type.
Sure.
One of them being vitamin E.
Vitamin E, yeah. There's synthetic vitamin E and there's natural vitamin E, and you can get a supplement form of either one. So when you look on the back of it, first of all, there's one thing we need to make sure of when we see vitamin E, and that's that it's the right type of vitamin E. Even if it's natural, we want the vitamin E to be gamma vitamin E or gamma tocopherol. Just look at the gamma. If it says alpha tocopherol, but there's no gamma, I wouldn't consume that product. There needs to be gamma, or it needs to be mixed, meaning it has gamma and alpha. The gamma is the type that floats in the fat, in the membrane of the cell, and that's where vitamin E is supposed to do its action. So if you take alpha tocopherol, you're not really doing any good, first of all. The second thing is, in front of that product name, when you say vitamin E, look back on the label. It should say D gamma tocopherol or D alpha tocopherol. The D means it's natural. If it says DL tocopherol, DL means it's synthetic. So don't buy the synthetic form. It's been shown to increase lung cancer, increase prostate cancer, and increase cardiovascular risk.
People need to recognize that there's, just because we're able to synthesize something or chemically make something doesn't mean that our body recognizes what to do with it.
Right.
So therefore, it could fight us. It could work against us.
And there are great labs.
And it's important to say this: synthesizing a supplement doesn't mean it's bad for us.
Right. That's true.
Okay, and people need to know that chemically making a supplement is bad for us, but certain antioxidants like vitamin D being synthesized, just like folic acid, folate being synthesized, could be dangerous.
Right. And I would say it this way. You can synthesize a chemical and make it in its natural form, and it's okay. If you synthesize it and make it in the unnatural form, that's when you really run into problems. Xylitol is a good example. You can extract xylitol from bark, or you can chemically make it in a lab, synthesize it. It's the identical molecule. There's no difference whether you get it from the synthesized form or the naturally extracted form. It's identical. With vitamin E, though, if you get the natural form, the D-tocopherol, it's not the same molecule as the type that was invented in a lab that doesn't exist in nature. The DL is purely synthetic. It's not found in nature, and our body does not respond well to it.
Okay.
So that's the major issue.
So you have 15 seconds. Anything? 20 seconds? We haven't covered.
Well, to ballpark this, I would say the easiest way to make sure that you don't have to worry about your antioxidants is take a blend of supplements, usually. Just a blend, a good multivitamin that has vitamin C and natural vitamin E. You may need CoQ10 if you're over age 30 or 35. Add a little bit of that. Also add some high sulfur foods. That'll help you make some of these other real important antioxidants.
What are those?
Raw whey protein, garlic, onion, the strong vegetables, broccoli, cabbage, cauliflower, asparagus. And then, on top of that, eat a broad variety of greens and other vegetables. That way you're going to ensure that you eat a lot of these plant-based antioxidants, and you're going to get your vitamin C.
So basically we're going to be well-rounded.
Yeah.
Good deal.
Be
Dr.
healthy,
Jeremy
and
Webster,
take care of themselves.
CompleteHealthDallas.com. Any questions for him or me, you can see either one of us. Let's talk with, or email either one of us. Let's talk with the T-Box.
George.
Good morning.
Dr. Webster.
How's it going, guys?
You guys were talking about mangosteen.
Yeah.
Interesting. There's good and bad about mangosteen. Rick and I, when we first saw it, laughed. They told us how many things it could do. But I read a really good story a few weeks ago in Business Week about the guy. There's a guy who's got a bunch of smoothie shops or juice shops. And in order to be able to compete with the Jamba Juices and the Smoothie Kings and all that, he had to go do something else. So he goes and takes sabbaticals, and he found mangosteen, and he just used them in his juice shops. I think he's got 20 of them. And then somebody else discovered it and put it into the multi-level marketing stuff, and it just was the downfall of mangosteen. But he found the next two also. You guys probably know which ones they are. And the whole story was about it, and he's getting tired of. He finds it for the right reasons. It's a great free radical or super antioxidant or whatever it is, and then people misuse it by doing the multi-level marketing and everything else. So he's just found another one in chili. And the problem with these fruits and why they're kind of just discovered is because as soon as you pull them off the tree, they go bad. So you got to juice them right away, or you've got to do something with them right away. And he's trying to corner the market on this new fruit down in the jungles of Chile, and trying to so nobody can do anything with it but him. And he's every month, all the money he's made off his juice shops, he's spending to do that. But
so what's he going to do? Fly everybody out there so they can pick it and drink it right away?
Yeah, I don't know. It was an interesting story, and they were talking about how this guy's really. It's one of those guys who's really, his heart's in the right place. He's really a smart guy. I mean, think about it. He's finding these things, but he never gets any real credit out of it. So he's tired of it, and he's going to fix it right now.
Yeah, and he'll probably make a ton of money on it potentially, but it probably will never be this panacea that everybody thinks it will be, just because it has a high free radical neutralizing capability. As we talked about earlier, that's not what it's all about.
Yeah, but if you don't know any better,
balance.
if you don't know any better, and you're not educated about this, then you're going to believe that because that's what marketing is about.
Sure,
it's like believing statins are healthy.
But it's what you said too. I had heard you guys, and Jeremy, it's one of the things that you said. It helps. There's good things about a mangosteen.
Yeah. It's
not the only thing, and it can't. When we were sold, Rick and I were sold on it. The lady who was talking to us said it would cure cancer. It's not going to cure cancer.
Why not?
If it was going to cure cancer, we'd all know a lot more about it. It wouldn't be a multi-level marketing product.
Add to the copy points, baby.
Yeah.
So.
Wow.
Where are you guys located?
We're at the TPC Craig Ranch course in McKinney for the Web.com Tour Championship.
A question for you guys. When you're playing golf in this, or any of the other guys are playing, what's the warm-up procedure to be able to feel confident enough to tee off and not be stiff? I know it's not stretching, but is there any ideas that you can give other golfers or even me about?
For these guys, it's all stretching.
Yeah.
Say it again?
Craig does wind sprints.
I do wind sprints.
Come on, I'm serious.
He runs. I'm not kidding. He runs up
Seriously.
and down the tee boxes, but it's just getting loose.
You think
you know?
wind sprints are bad?
Well, one of the things we say with strength training is if you're going to warm up, all right, let's back off for a moment. Let's talk about common sense and logic. If I'm going to work my upper body, my chest and my shoulders and all that stuff, would I get on a treadmill to get the blood flowing, so to speak, or would I do push-ups and some of the exercises I intend to use?
In other words, you're asking, do you just hit a few golf balls gently or swing a club gently?
I wouldn't even swing a club. So, but which one would you say, Craig?
Well, you got to get your timing down. You got to get your feel.
Timing down.
Yeah, and golf is different than lifting. You always said don't stretch before you lift. In golf, it's all about flexibility.
So, yeah, but let me just share this with you. This is too long to go into. You would never stretch before playing golf. You could gain flexibility by strengthening opposing muscles that keep you from being flexible. This is one of those things where my show could expand so much more if it was video, to show people how they can gain flexibility without stretching. That's number one. Number two, you can still perform the act of teeing off without using the club and building not only in movement but in speed, and then with weight being the club, and then from there you would build into the hitting the ball.
Yeah, that would probably go in the face of everything we see on the tour.
It
guys
would.
Warming up. Yeah.
It would, but that's what I'm trying. This is why we're trying to educate people. It's like people who still think aerobic training is healthy for them. Well, guess what? I just rewrote my book. It'll be released hopefully Monday on my website, and I have completely debunked the fact of, or the marketing thought process of aerobic training being healthy for us. The science is there. I talk about toxicity and nutrition and all that other stuff, and I also discuss about calories in, calories out, what people think as the way to lose weight, and I've debunked that completely in my book. And this is another one of those things. It's not me here to just promote my book. It's to share with you that it's okay to stop being a robot and think for ourselves and not do what everybody else does or has done for however many years. If you were to try to implement this, what I just said about a warm-up phase, and there might be a little bit more involved depending on how cold it really is outside, then you might find that you'll have more spring, so to speak, when you tee off versus performing wind sprints. It's not a bad thing necessarily, but which one's going to be better for you? And Craig, if you want to learn more about this and try it, then get with me during the week or next week, and let's try it. And you can see for yourself on the air after you've tried your way of warming up versus a different way.
Well, I would a few things. Number one, you're certainly contradictive to the experts in the
There's something new.
world of fitness in the golf world, because they all are stretching their players before a round. But if you listen at 8:50, you will find out why I'm probably not going to touch a golf club for a long time. You may hit a golf club before I do.
Okay? Let me just say this so it's clarified with everything I just said. That I never said that you shouldn't be flexible and work on flexibility before playing golf. I said you shouldn't stretch first. There's a huge difference, and you have to know what that is.